Well, hello, friends. I'm Randy Eager with Strategic Storm Internet Marketing. We make money for agents through enhanced internet marketing and social media productivity so that you don't have to. Welcome to our 20 Types of Dynamic Blogging Posts webinar. In this webinar, we'll be learning 20 different types of posts that you can write to make your blogs have more authority. Having more authority means that you are drawing a large crowd who wish to read your blog posts. If you want to have an effective internet marketing campaign, you're going to need a blog site that's compelling and works for you. If you haven't had a chance to get the link to the handout, you can go to strategicstorm.com/handouts/20blogposts.pdf. And if you'd like to get this handout, you can also just click on the link, which you can get anytime during this webinar. Let's get started this way. Let's get started with the 4 main areas of focus for today. In addition to the 20 types of dynamic blogging posts along the way, you'll learn some valuable secrets to blog posting. Let's take a look at 3 of them. In the posts that we look at, you'll learn reasons why good posts work for you. Good posting skills can draw buyers and clients to you like a magnet. One of the best things that you'll learn will be how these posts can get people to link to you. You'll see that some types of posts are a natural communications link to people, and others can draw in people who will want to subscribe to your posts. You'll also see why a good blog site can make your website more effective. Said simply, linking your blog site that is indexed continually by the search engines to your website gets it re-indexed far more frequently as well. Okay, let's get started out, and we've got a lot of ground to cover. So let's start with instructional blog post number 1. Instructional blog posts tell people how to do something. I find that my tips posts are generally the ones that are among my most popular, both in the short term, that is loyal readers who love them and will link up to them, but also in the longer term. One of the reasons people search the web is to find out how to do things, and if you can rank highly with their tips post, you can have traffic over a length of time. Make sure you give instructions on interesting topics, and you will make your blog posts more compelling to read and more likely to be linked. It's getting others to link to your post that will build backlinks for you. Instructional blogs are highly recommended and bookmarked. The reason for this in the nature of wanting to just click back to the instructions rather than take copious notes on how to do something of interest. Number 2, informational posts. This is one of the more common blog post types where you simply give information on a topic. This is an easy one for most agents to use, but also a very good one, as we are constantly being asked about interest rates, appreciation or depreciation, foreclosure rates, and so forth. You can give information on any topic of your choice. The better the information that you give here, the more of an expert you appear. This is the nice thing about the informational blog post, and it sets you up as the expert. It could be a definition post or a longer explanation of some aspect of the niche that you're writing on. The more of a niche that you target, the more interesting the post becomes. This is the crux of successful sites like Wikipedia. In fact, many of my posts will reference Wikipedia and other reference sites to validate my point. Not that Wikipedia is the end-all solution, but it's a good resource. Number 3, reviews. Another highly searched area or term is the review. I know every time I'm considering buying a new product that I head to Google and search for a review of that product first. Reviews come in all shapes and sizes and on almost every product or service you can think of. Give your fair and insightful opinion. Make sure that in your post you mention the word review, as this is what will be used in the search engines. Think like a buyer might think for these. Ask your readers for their opinion. This is a great way to get input for your readers. It's easy to put in as they will ask your opinion. It also makes people feel special to have their opinions valued. Reviews can be highly powerful posts that have a great longevity. People will bookmark and re-reference reviewed posts as purchasing decisions are often delayed for longer periods of time. One of the easiest ways to write a post is to make a list. Posts like content with the top 10 ways to, or 7 reasons why, or 5 favorite, or 53 mistakes that homebuyers make when, well, they're not always easy to write but are usually very popular with readers and with getting links from other bloggers. One tip on lists: if you start with a brief list, that is each point as a phrase or a sentence, then develop each one into a paragraph or two, you might just end up with a series of posts that last you a few days. Examples. Resource lists. The useful list of resources requires 2 ingredients, time and a good eye for quality. If a resource list seems useful, many readers will bookmark or vote for it on face value alone. If your blog is struggling, a useful resource list can be an effective way to spark up your traffic and links. How about best of lists? At this time of year, or at any time of year for that matter, you'll see a lot of best of the year roundups. Though best of lists seem to work well at all times. They're effective because people are constantly searching for the best of everything. It's a term that promises high quality. It also generates interest because best is subjective. What's best for you might be mediocre for others. Ranked lists always seem to generate links, traffic, and debate. And this is a wonderful area for real estate services. And how about the lists of tips? These are quantifiable lists of tips that are really attractive to readers because they explain in just a few seconds what a visitor stands to receive in return for their attention. You see them everywhere on the internet, and that's because they work. Number 5, interviews. Sometimes when you've run out of insightful things to say, it might be a good idea to let someone else do the talking in an interview, or let's say a guest post. This can not only be good for you, but for your guest as well. I've done several interviews with those who do the same thing that I do, and I have just as much fun being the interviewer as the interviewee. This is a great way to not only give your readers a relevant expert's opinion, but to perhaps even learn something about the topic you're writing yourself. One tip: if you're not approaching people for an interview, think of doing it on your blog. Don't overwhelm them with questions. One of two good questions are more likely to get response than a long list of poorly thought through ones. So make sure that you always give those that you are interviewing the chance to send you questions that they would like to answer. And I find that in an hour's period of time, 9 or 10 questions are about the right number of questions to answer. Q&As with high-profile people. Interviews with well-known bloggers always seem to get links, comments, and traffic. The nice thing about this method is that the only work involved is writing questions and approaching bloggers, or successful, or people that others know. The success rates for getting interviews are pretty high, as most bloggers love talking about themselves. Number 6 is case studies. Another popular type of post that we use here at Strategic Storm have been those where I've taken another blogger and profiled them and how they use their site to earn money from their blogging. Sometimes these are more like a review post, but on occasion I've also added some instructional content to them and made some suggestions on how I'd improve them. Case studies don't have to be on other websites, of course. There may be opportunities to do case studies in different niches. How about profiles? Profile posts are similar to case studies, but focus in on a particular person. The more interesting the person, the more people get attracted to your blog. Pick an interesting personality in your niche and do a little research on them to present to your readers. It's always difficult for people to say wonderful things about themselves, but this can easily be done by you. Point out how they've reached the position that they're in and write about the characteristics that they have that others in your niche might like to develop to be successful. And how about link blog posts? The good old link blog post is a favorite of many bloggers and is simply a matter of finding a good quality post on another site or blog and linking up to it. Basically, what you're doing here is writing piggyback on top of another blogger's good post. When doing these, make sure you include an explanation of the blog post that you're linking to. This explanation should share the values of the person whose post you're linking to as well as your own. It's also a good idea to explain why you're linking up and comment on your take on the topic and or a quote from the post. Your part of the post can be as long or short as you'd like it to be. Of course, adding your comments makes these posts more original and useful to your readers. The more original content, the better. But don't be afraid to bounce off others in this way. Number 9 is the contrasting options blog post. Life is full of decisions between two or more options. Write a post contrasting two different products, services, or approaches. An excellent example of this contrasting is of real estate services and expectations of what buyers can expect. Please write that down. Contrasting real estate services and expectations of what buyers can expect. Of course, your services are going to be far higher than what the mediocre real estate agent services are. And many agents find that they can get higher commissions by contrasting their services with whatever the average is. Make sure that this outlines the positives and negatives of each choice. In a sense, these are review posts, but are a little wider in focus. I find that these posts do very well on some of my product blogs where people actually search for X product comparison to Y product quite a bit. But you can look at Y service as opposed to X service. These are equally effective, services versus products. And the rant post. Get passionate. Stir yourself up. Say what's on your mind and tell it like it is. This is a fun one to create if you let yourself go. Rants are great for starting discussion and causing a little controversy. They can also be quite fun if you do it in the right spirit. Just be aware that they can also be the beginnings of a flaming comment thread, and often it's in the heat of the moment when we say things that we later regret that can impact our reputation for our blogs. Make sure they are fun or popular viewpoints. Ranting on viewpoints that are controversial can lose your integrity to many. There are many people that this format doesn't fit, so be careful. Now let's take a look at something here at how to use your blog post. This is something that I think every single agent needs to know about their blog posts and as you'll see, blog posts. You'll see what I'm saying, but I've already got a blog site. That's like saying, but I've already got a listing. Not only will having two websites double the effectiveness of a single blog site or single website, if done correctly, it can expand your effectiveness exponentially. For example, one website or one blog site plus adding another blog site does not equal the effectiveness of two blog sites. One, in this case, plus one equals 6 times the effectiveness because of the laws of combinations and permutations. I'm not going to get into that right now, but stated simply, with permutations, if you add one more variable, not only do you add the variable to the choices, but the various possible ways to mix up those variables. But here's the easier reason to have multiple blog sites. Note that I have one blog site here that's all about what I might call Houston properties. In another blog site, I might want to capture the luxury Texas real estate market. Or how about just homes in Houston? Or even getting specific by location by specifying West Houston real estate. Here's another way to think of multiple blog sites. Let's say that you have 4 different blog sites, all advertising various keyword phrases and specialties. You're going to want to have your blog site or your website, which is the mothership. And this is the mothership. Note that I have my blog, I have View My Blog Posts, and I have blog posts. So I am basically in their face. So you're going to want to have your website as the mothership. You're not going to want to put links on all of them to talk to each other, but they are all going to talk to the mothership or the basic website. So let's take a look at how this works. Note that in the 4 corners here, each of these is the blog site or a separate, different blog site. And what's in the middle? What's in the middle is the mothership. You're now casting a much wider net to catch many more properties. Do I have your attention yet? Well, if not, this has got to make more sense to most top producers. Call your webmaster, or we'd love to talk to you about creating and optimizing your blog sites for you. Because this is what you want. Note that you want to have your blog sites not only linked to and talking to each other, but you want to have them linked to and talking to your major website or the mothership. What does this mean to you? This means that when the search engines come along and read your blog site, and get this, they're going to read your blog site within 3 to 4 hours, not 3 to 4 months, or 2 to 3 hours as opposed to 2 to 3 months. Then, once they get found on the blog site much faster, if you have a link to your website, boom, immediately the search engines will read your website, and that will put your website much higher up on the search engines if you've done your website appropriately. And that's the key. All right, well, let's get on with our different blog posts. Here is the inspirational blog post. On the flip side of the story of the angry rant, and not all rants have to be angry, are inspirational or motivational pieces. Tell a story of success or paint a picture of what could be. There is rarely a negative side to the inspirational post. People like to hear good news stories in their niche as it motivates them to persist with what they're doing. Find feel-good stories of others and or how they overcame adversity. And here's another thought. Find examples of success in your own experience or that of others and spread the word. Don't worry about writing about yourself in this way. If the story is true, it will come across the right way. Number 12, the research blog post. Pick a topic and research the details for others. These types of blog posts are most effective when you are passionate about the topic or have an interest in the subject matter. These are very effective for PR blogs. A few months ago, I wrote a research-oriented post surfing through 100 blogs over a few days to look at a number of different SEO outcomes for certain keyword search terms. Research posts can take a lot of time, but they can also be well worth it if you come up with an interesting conclusion that inspire people to link up to your blog site or website through the major online PR posting agencies. And even though I did this several months ago, I'm still getting people that will link up to my blog site and website because they still find the research interesting. Try to come up with interesting conclusions. Keep in mind that even if the conclusion isn't what you were expecting, you can probably frame it in a way that will be interesting to your readers. How about the prediction or review post? We see a lot of these at the end and start of the year. They're also easy and fun to write. Much of the information can be culled from magazines and periodicals and internet sites. People do their year-in-review posts, so why not combine the review post with the link-back post? This way, if you find someone that has already written on the year's past events, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Look at the year ahead and predict what developments might make a niche different in the coming months. I always enjoy these types of posts as it makes the author look like a visionary. And quite frankly, people don't really remember what your predictions were and whether you were right or not. However, if you were right, it's fun to point out in your review post. And number 14, well, here is the critique post. Attack posts have always been a part of blogging, but these days I tend to prefer to critique rather than attack. You may have seen people who go on the attack about other people or politicians. Well, keep in mind that there should be a big difference between an attack post and a critique post. Perhaps it's a fine line, but unless I get really worked up, I generally find the positives in what others are doing or suggesting, and I make constructive alternatives to the things that I don't like about what they do. I don't really see the point in attacking others for the sake of it, but as I've said before this, I reflect on what they have said and I put it into my personality and then give my positive spin as opposed to attacking them. And leave room for why decisions were made. This also puts you on the high ground, which others will respect you more for. How about post number 15? The debate blog posts. Oh, you're going to love this one. Debates do well on blogs since they are a great way to draw in communication. As has been said before, the more interesting or controversial the debate, the more interesting and controversial the blog will be. You probably know of some blogs that are known for their bait and debate techniques. Well, these can be set up either in an organized fashion between two people, between a blogger and all comers, or even between the blogger and themselves. Well, try it. Argue both for and against a topic in one post. You can end up with a pretty balanced post doing it this way. Plus, you can't be argued against because you're taking both sides. It's a great way to put together a post. Number 16 is the hypothetical post. I like this one also. I haven't done a hypothetical post for a little while, but this is a what-if situation, or a hypothetical post can be quite fun. Let your mind go wild with these. Think up crazy hypothetical situations that others would love to comment on. Sometimes the more controversial topics are the best here, since you are actually not taking a side. Make sure you understand that. You are not taking a side. You're just throwing something out there. Rather than just throwing out, here's what I think, you're just saying, hey, what if? So this is just a what if scenario. Pick a something that could happen down the track in our industry and begin to unpack what the implications of it would be. For example, what if, let's say, licensing fees were $5,000? What if Congress took over the Real Estate Regulatory Agency? And get crazy with this and have fun. Just make sure that you step aside after you've thrown down the what if and don't get caught up in the fray. The more interesting, the more readership. You should always be thinking of what would make my readership grow. In addition, you should also be thinking of what type of post worked last time, and then just do it again. Number 17, the satirical post. You'll probably find a number of blog posts that you'll stumble across where a couple of bloggers write in a satirical form and take potshots at politicians. It seems as though politicians are easy targets for satire. Be careful, however. One person's satire is another person's anger. Choose wisely the topics for this type of post. Well-written satire or parody can be incredibly powerful and is brilliant for generating links for your blog. It also introduces a particular type of person to your blog that you may or may not want. Be careful that your writing is recognized as satire and not just mean-spiritedness. People that read a mean-spirited blog post will probably either shut you off or worse, comment with a writhing post of their own. Now keep in mind at this point in time, you have several options here for your comments, and make sure that you choose from one of these options. In your blog post, you can either turn comments on, and what that means is any comment that anyone makes automatically gets posted. Or you can say, have the comments turned on if I approve them. So each day or each other day or each week, whichever you choose, depending on how many comments you're getting, you can approve whatever comments you would like to approve. Now, what this means is if you get maybe especially a large number or a few negative comments, you can destroy them. That's right. You can delete them from the comments before anybody sees them. And the third option is to just have no comments. Now, this is the one I do not recommend because you really do want to have those positive comments on your blog post so other people can read them and comment on your comments. Well, let's get to post number 18, the good advice blog post. A quality advice post generally sticks to one topic and provides in-depth information on it. The other benefit here, again, as in many others of these posts, is that it establishes you as the authority of your niche. In order to maximize the benefits, you'll need to provide advice for people that are hungry for it. There is a rich amount of information that you can retrieve from NAR, CRS, and many other similar sources. In fact, one of the best ways to get information is to simply Google it. Much of what once had a high price tag from many of these resources is now free. Avoid oversaturated topics and try to work out what your audience wants to do but doesn't yet know how. A good advice post can bring you a lot of success. The better the advice, the more productive the post will draw. Be careful, however, since good advice can be seen as bad advice depending upon how much of a hot topic you're talking about. That's why I like to get into the NAR library and find out what they have as white papers that they have and give out for free. Then I will give people advice on how to buy a home, how to sell a home, what to look for interest rates, and so forth. These are always good advice posts and can be received and culled from NAR, CRS, and many other places very easily. Well, how about 19, arguing a popular point of view? People like to have their world of view affirmed. This is why drawing out from them their viewpoints can be so poignant. If you can articulate something a lot of people agree with, those who agree with you will champion your post. Those who disagree will probably still link to you because their response won't make much sense otherwise. But popular viewpoints are views that are typically either neutral in character or obviously slanted one way or the other. A discussion of FSBOs might be an example. Now, this method works best when the topic isn't too divisive. A reader won't abandon your blog simply because you like, let's say, Facebook as opposed to LinkedIn. But they might abandon ship if you argue that capital punishment is necessary and the view is something they strongly disagree with. Make sure you're not going to lose as many readers as you gain. And number 20, and I've left the best one for last, creating testimonials. Okay, now let's take a look at a standard testimonial that you might see on a website or a blog site. And while this is fairly glowing testimonial, and here it is in writing, while this is fairly glowing, how can we make it better? Well, here we see the same testimonial, except we have now a video of it with John right here. John Riggins is obviously a fan of what we do, and notice that while I'm not going to be playing it for you because of the problem with multimedia on top of multimedia through the internet, and some of you have better broadband than others, I'm going to just show you what it looks like with a screenshot. Notice that we have titles, and the first title is the major title, I couldn't do without you, and this is what he says during the video. Then the second title is, you've done a magnificent job, and that's also what he says. And then I have the third title as a quote, I've done everything that you've suggested. Now, this is nothing more than what is done every day on the various news channels. When they have any sort of news program going on, not only will they have the interview, but they'll have what is said in the interview, the major points, down below. This is something that you might want to pick up on. So this is not something that you don't want to do because, well, you can't find anybody, because keep in mind, you all can do this with your buyers and your sellers. Just ask them, can you do an interview with them, and make sure that you pick people that you had a good situation with in selling their home, or that you had a good situation with in helping them buy their home. Internet marketing has been left to the elite. Top agents understand the two facets of Internet marketing. First, they have optimized websites, making them visible to their prospects on Google. Second, they have compelling websites that make the prospect want to stay and give their information. The vast majority of these agents use the Gold SEO plan. It puts their website at the top of Google, And just some of the features in the Gold SEO plan are blog site creation and optimization, social bookmarking site submissions, competitor research analysis, link building, plus 15 more optimization features. For years, this has been our most popular SEO plan at $35.95, but it's yours for a limited time if you mention this video for only $19.95. But that's not all. Here's another idea. Allow me to introduce the Power Site, the feature-perfect website, the first website to put the power of a 10-year study finding the 20 most compelling website features to get you leads leading to sales. The Power Site is the most feature-rich, compelling website on the market today. Some of the features in the Power Site include the Gold SEO plan. That alone is a $3,600 value. A professional rotating feature property slideshow. Subscribe to new listings or the new listing alerts. Video trailer inserts, plus 16 more compelling features. And because it includes the Gold SEO plan, it's our best value. And all of this for only $19.95. Call us today and ask to see available live sites and testimonials. For more information and to order, call 800-277-1316. Use your smartphone to click on the QR barcode shown or order online at ourpowersites.com. Use your credit card to secure these special offers. Don't delay. Call 800-277-1316 now. Plus, if you call today, not only can you get these special prices, but you can also get our bundled pricing for both products for only $29.95. This limited time offer will only be available for those who mention this video offer. Remember the words of Theodore Roosevelt. In any moment of decision, the best thing that you can do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing. And the worst thing that you can do is nothing. Well, the decision is yours to make. We hope to hear from you, and have a great day.